This is a private party for actual guests, not people like you. Chelsea Montgomery stood between the black woman and the pool, voice loud enough for the entire terrace to hear. I am a guest. My husband. Your husband? Chelsea laughed sharply. Right, and I'm the Queen of England. Girls, look at this. 3 other white women gathered, smirking. One whispered something. They all laughed. The black woman stayed composed. I can show you my invitation if... We don't need to see anything. Brett Montgomery stepped up, blocking her other side. Except you are leaving, now. Chelsea moved closer. Did you really think you could just walk into our world? Pathetic. She shoved the woman's shoulder, hard. The woman stumbled backward. Brett pushed from the other side. She fell into the pool with a massive splash. Screams, laughter, phones everywhere. Chelsea stood at the edge, triumphant. White guests don't get shoved into pools, but you just did. Have you ever seen bullies pick the absolute wrong target? 6 hours earlier, sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows in a Central Park penthouse. The smell of fresh coffee mixed with jasmine from a vase on the marble counter. Dr. Isabelle Laurent sat at her dining table, laptop open, reviewing engineering reports from her Singapore team. Her phone buzzed, a video call from across the Atlantic. Good morning, beautiful. Alexander Whitmore's face filled the screen, his smile warm despite the London rain behind him. Still planning to skip Victoria's party? Isabel sighed, closing her laptop. You know how those events are. 3 hours of people asking what I do, then looking confused when I explain renewable energy infrastructure. They're not all bad. Alexander loosened his tie. Besides, Victoria specifically asked about you. She wants to get to know you better. She's met me twice in 3 years. Isabel stood, walking to the window. Your family tolerates our marriage. They don't celebrate it. Alexander's expression softened. That's why it matters that you go. Show them who you are. Isabel watched yellow cabs crawl through Manhattan traffic below. Her reflection stared back. A black woman who'd built an $8 billion company from a $10,000 loan. A woman whose MIT doctorate hung in her office, not her living room. A woman who still remembered her mother cleaning other people's houses in New Orleans. I'll go, she finally said, but only because you asked. That's my girl. I'll be home tomorrow night. He paused. And Isabel? Don't let them make you feel small. You're not. After the call ended, Isabel opened her closet. Designer dresses hung in neat rows, gifts from Alexander that she rarely wore. She chose simple elegance, a cream sundress, minimal jewelry, comfortable sandals, nothing flashy, nothing that screamed wealth. In the kitchen, Maria was preparing lunch. The housekeeper had worked for them for 2 years, and Isabel had long since stopped her from using formal titles. Maria, sit. Eat with me. Isabel pulled out a chair. Mrs. Whitmore, I couldn't... Isabel. And yes, you can. She smiled. How's Sophia doing? Has NYU sent her acceptance yet? Maria's face lit up. She got in. Full scholarship to the nursing program. That's wonderful. Isabel grabbed her phone. I know the dean. Let me write her a recommendation for the honors track. You've already done so much. I'm doing what someone did for me once. Isabel squeezed her hand. We lift each other up, remember? An hour later, Isabel drove herself to the Hamptons. No driver, no security, just her in a modest rental car, windows down, music low. The highway stretched ahead, and she let her mind wander. She thought about code switching, about the exhausting performance of being twice as good to be seen as half as worthy, about boardrooms where she was the only black face, the only woman, expected to represent everyone who looked like her while also being told not to make it about race. She thought about her mother's voice, Baby, hold your head high. They can take everything but your dignity. The Hamptons estate appeared like something from a magazine. Manicured hedges, fountain sculptures, valets in crisp uniforms directing Ferraris and Bentleys into organized rows. Isabel pulled up in her Toyota rental. The valet stared. Are you lost? No, I'm here for the party. She handed him the keys. He held them like they might contaminate him. This is a private event. I'm aware. Isabel walked past him toward the entrance. At the security checkpoint, a guard examined her invitation longer than he'd examined the 3 white guests ahead of her. He scanned it twice, checked his tablet, looked at her face, looked at the invitation again. This seems legitimate, he finally said, uncertainty thick in his voice. It is legitimate. Isabel kept her tone neutral. Inside, the party was exactly what she'd expected. 200 people designed everything, sipping champagne that cost more than most people's monthly rent. String quartet playing Vivaldi. Servers weaving through clusters of conversation, invisible until someone needed a refill. A woman in head-to-toe Chanel approached. Oh, are you with the event planning team? The hors d'oeuvres are divine. I'm a guest. Isabel smiled politely. Oh. The woman's smile tightened. How lovely. What do you do? Environmental technology and renewable infrastructure. How charitable. The woman drifted away. Isabel found a quiet corner near the pool, pulling out her phone to text Alexander. The garden was beautiful, at least. Roses bloomed in geometric beds. The pool sparkled like cut glass under the afternoon sun. She didn't notice Chelsea Montgomery watching her from across the terrace. Didn't see the judgment forming. Didn't know her peaceful afternoon was about to shatter. Chelsea Montgomery's champagne had gone warm. She'd been at this party for 2 hours, and not one investor had taken her seriously. Her Hermes bag was a knockoff. Her dress, last season's clearance. Her smile, increasingly desperate. She watched her husband Brett work the crowd, his booming laugh too loud, his handshakes too aggressive. They were drowning in debt, their lifestyle held together by maxed credit cards and lies. This party was supposed to save them. Instead, everyone kept brushing them off. Then she saw her, the black woman standing alone near the pool, checking her phone. Cream dress, simple jewelry, rental car keys visible in her hand. Chelsea's frustration found a target. Who invited the help to mingle? Chelsea said loudly to her friend Meredith. Meredith followed her gaze. Maybe she's lost? She's not lost. She's taking photos. Chelsea pointed at the woman's phone. Probably selling them to tabloids. Brett overheard, turning with interest. What's going on? That woman. She doesn't belong here. Chelsea's voice carried across the terrace. Several guests turned to look. The black woman glanced up from her phone, noticing the attention. She offered a polite smile, then returned to her screen. Chelsea interpreted the smile as defiance. She marched over, heels clicking like gunshots. Excuse me. Chelsea stopped directly in front of her. Photography isn't allowed at private events. What are you doing? Isabel lowered her phone calmly. I'm video calling my husband. He's in London. Your husband? Chelsea's laugh was sharp. Sure. And where does your husband work? The landscaping company? Isabel's expression didn't change. He's in real estate. Real estate? Chelsea turned to her growing audience. Everyone here is in real estate, sweetheart. That's not special. Isabel slipped her phone into her bag. I didn't say it was special. You asked, I answered. Brett joined them, scotch sloshing in his glass. His face was flushed, his eyes unfocused. What's the problem, babe? This woman won't leave. I've asked her nicely. Chelsea crossed her arms. I haven't been asked to leave. Isabel's voice remained steady. I was invited. I'm a guest. Brett laughed, the sound wet and ugly. A guest? At Victoria Whitmore's party? He looked her up and down. Yeah, I don't think so. I am. Isabel reached for her bag. I can show you my invitation. Chelsea grabbed her wrist. Don't reach for anything. We don't know what you have in there. The touch was aggressive. Fingers pressed into skin hard enough to leave marks. Isabel looked down at Chelsea's hand, then back up at her face. Let go of me, please. Or what? Chelsea squeezed harder. You'll call your imaginary husband? A small crowd had formed. 20 people, then 30, watching the confrontation unfold. Some looked uncomfortable. Most looked entertained. One young woman pulled out her phone, started recording. Isabel gently tried to extract her wrist. Chelsea held on. I'm going to ask you one more time to release me. Isabel's calm was unnerving. No anger, no fear, just steady certainty. Brett stepped closer. You're not in a position to ask for anything. You crashed this party. We all know it. I didn't crash anything. Isabel finally pulled her wrist free. Finger-shaped red marks bloomed on her dark skin. My name is on the guest list. Check with Victoria if you don't believe me. Victoria? Chelsea's eyes narrowed. You're claiming you know Victoria Whitmore personally? I'm married to her cousin. The crowd went silent. Then someone giggled. The giggle spread into laughter. Brett nearly spat out his drink. You're married to Whitmore? That's the story you're going with? It's not a story. It's the truth. Chelsea pulled out her phone, tapping rapidly. Let's see. Victoria's family tree. Oh, look, her cousin Alexander, and he's engaged to... She turned her screen toward the crowd. Sienna Hartwell, blonde, Yale-educated, society royalty. The crowd murmured. Someone whispered, I remember that engagement announcement. Isabel shook her head slightly. That engagement ended 5 years ago. Alexander and I have been married for 3 years. Married. Brett emphasized each syllable like it was ridiculous. To Alexander Whitmore, one of the richest men on the East Coast. Yes. And you expect us to believe that? Chelsea's voice rose. Look at you. Look at us. Look at where we are. You really think we're that stupid? Isabel's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. I think you're making assumptions based on how I look. Oh, here we go. Brett rolled his eyes. Playing the race card already. I'm not playing anything. I'm stating a fact. Isabel glanced around at the crowd. I came to this party as a guest. I've been polite. I've explained who I am. You've grabbed me, insulted me, and accused me of lying. Why? Chelsea stepped into her personal space. Because people like you don't marry people like Alexander Whitmore. They just don't. People like me? Isabel repeated the words quietly. Yes, people who show up in rental cars. People who dress like they're going to brunch, not a $50,000 party. People who don't know anyone here. I know Victoria. No, you don't. Chelsea's certainty was absolute. I've known Victoria for 10 years. She would never invite someone like you to her home. Meredith touched Chelsea's arm. Chels, maybe we should just check the guest list. We don't need to check anything. Chelsea whirled on her friend. Can't you see what's happening? She saw this party on social media. Found the address, walked right in because security is too scared to stop her. Too scared? Isabel's eyebrow raised. Of looking racist. Brett said it like it was obvious. You people weaponize that all the time. The words hung in the air. Several guests shifted uncomfortably. The young woman filming moved closer, making sure her camera caught everything. Isabel took a slow breath. I'm going to walk away now. I'll find Victoria myself and clear this up. She turned toward the main house. Chelsea grabbed her arm again, harder this time. You're not going anywhere. Remove your hand. Isabel's voice dropped, acquiring an edge it hadn't had before. "Make me." Chelsea pulled, trying to steer her toward the exit. Isabel planted her feet, resisting. "You're assaulting me, in front of witnesses. Think about what you're doing." "Assaulting you? I'm escorting you out." Chelsea's nails dug into Isabel's bicep. "There's a difference." Brett moved to Isabel's other side, boxing her in. "Come on, don't make this harder than it needs to be." "I'm not going anywhere with you." Isabel tried to step back. The pool was directly behind her. 3 feet away, the water sparkled innocently in the late afternoon sun. Chelsea felt Isabel resist and shoved. Not hard enough to move her far, just hard enough to make a point. Isabel stumbled, catching herself. "Did you just push me?" Isabel's voice was quiet, dangerous. "You bumped into me." Chelsea lied smoothly. "Clumsy." The crowd was larger now. 50 people, 60. Someone called out, "Just let her talk to Victoria." Brett turned on them. "Mind your business. This is handled." "It's not handled." A middle-aged Asian woman pushed through the crowd. "You're harassing a guest." "Stay out of this, Sophie." Chelsea didn't look at her. "You don't know what you're talking about." Sophie Carter pulled out her phone. "I know what assault looks like, and I'm recording now, too." "Good." Brett's face reddened. "Record this woman trespassing, lying about knowing the Whitmores, refusing to leave private property." Isabel looked at Sophie, gave her a small nod of thanks. Then she addressed Chelsea and Brett directly. "Last chance. Let me go. Check with Victoria. Apologize for the misunderstanding. We can all move on." Chelsea laughed in her face. "Apologize? To you?" "Yes. Never." Chelsea's hand shot out, shoving Isabel's shoulder hard. Isabel stumbled backward. The pool edge caught her heel. Brett pushed from the other side, both hands on her arms, violent and deliberate. Isabel's body tilted. Her arms windmilled. Her eyes went wide. She fell backward into the pool. The splash was massive. Water exploded upward in a crystalline arc, catching sunlight like shattered diamonds. Isabel's cream dress ballooned around her as she sank beneath the surface. Her hair floated loose. Her sandals drifted off her feet. The entire terrace went silent for 3 seconds. Then chaos erupted. Half the crowd gasped. The other half laughed. Phones appeared everywhere, dozens of them, all angles, all recording. Someone shouted, "Oh my God!" Another person applauded. Chelsea stood at the pool's edge, hand over her mouth, but her eyes were triumphant. Brett raised his scotch glass like he'd scored a touchdown. "Problem solved." Isabel surfaced, gasping. Chlorine burned her eyes. Her mascara ran in black rivers down her face. Water streamed from her hair, her ruined dress clinging to her body. She blinked hard, treading water, looking up at the crowd staring down at her. "Maybe next time you'll use the service entrance like you're supposed to." Chelsea's voice carried across the silent terrace. Meredith giggled nervously. "Chelsea, that was necessary." Chelsea cut her off. "She wouldn't leave." Isabel swam to the pool's edge. Her movements were controlled, deliberate. She reached up, gripping the tile, and pulled herself out. Water poured off her in sheets. Her dress was transparent now, completely destroyed. She stood there, dripping, and the crowd actually stepped back. Her dignity was terrifying. A young server rushed over with towels. He couldn't have been more than 19, his hands shaking as he offered them. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. That was completely wrong." Isabel took the towels, meeting his eyes. "Thank you, Marcus. You're very kind." "You know his name?" Chelsea's lip curled. "Of course you do. You're friends with the staff." Marcus flinched. Isabel gently touched his shoulder. "It's not your fault. Go back to work. You don't need to be part of this." "But they—" "Go!" Isabel's voice was firm but kind. Marcus retreated, looking back with worried eyes. Brett finished his scotch, tossed the glass to a passing server. Well, that was entertaining. Show's over, everyone. Not quite. Isabel wrung water from her hair. You just assaulted me. In front of approximately 60 witnesses, multiple cameras. I want your names. Our names? Chelsea laughed. Honey, everyone here knows our names. The question is, who the hell are you? I already told you. Right. Mrs. Alexander Whitmore. Chelsea turned to the crowd. Can you believe this? She's still pretending. Sophie Carter pushed forward again. Chelsea, stop. Just stop. You pushed her into a pool. That's assault. The joke's over. There's no joke, Sophie. Chelsea's eyes flashed. This woman trespassed. She lied about her identity. We removed her. End of story. You didn't remove her, you assaulted her. Sophie held up her phone. I have the whole thing on video. Both of you are pushing her. Brett stepped toward Sophie. Put that away, now. No. Sophie didn't back down. This is wrong and you know it. Two other guests moved beside Sophie. A young man in a bow tie. An older woman in pearls. Silent support. But 30 others stood with Chelsea and Brett, some actively agreeing, most just watching, unwilling to intervene. Isabel surveyed the crowd, cataloging faces, memorizing who laughed, who filmed, who helped, who didn't. Victoria Whitmore finally appeared, drawn by the commotion. She wore vintage Dior and confusion. What on earth is going on out here? Someone said there was an incident. Victoria! Chelsea rushed toward her. Thank God! This woman crashed your party. She claimed to be Alexander's wife. Can you imagine? We handled it. Victoria looked at Isabel, dripping wet, standing by the pool. Her brow furrowed. I'm sorry, who are you? Isabel met her gaze steadily. We met at your engagement party 3 years ago, and again at the charity gala last Christmas. Victoria squinted, searching her memory. I don't recall. You were busy both times. We barely spoke. Isabel understood. She'd been one face among hundreds, easy to forget. See? Chelsea grabbed Victoria's arm. She's lying. You don't know her. I didn't say I don't know her. I said I don't recall. Victoria looked more closely at Isabel's face. Something flickered in her eyes. Uncertainty. Brett jumped in. She said she's married to Alexander, your cousin Alexander, obviously a con artist. Victoria's expression cleared. Alexander is engaged to Sienna Hartwell. They've been together for years. They broke up 5 years ago. Isabel's voice was patient, explaining facts. He married me 3 years ago, small ceremony in New Orleans. You sent flowers but couldn't attend. Victoria's face went blank. I sent flowers? White orchids, with a note saying you were sorry to miss it but you were in Paris. Isabel tilted her head slightly. You really don't remember? The crowd murmured. Victoria's certainty wavered. This is ridiculous. Chelsea threw up her hands. She could have learned that from social media, from wedding announcements. She's a stalker. Do you have identification? Victoria asked Isabel. Anything to prove who you are? My phone and wallet are in my bag. Isabel gestured to where she'd been standing before, which your guests wouldn't let me retrieve. A server picked up a designer handbag from a nearby table. Is this it, ma'am? Isabel nodded. Yes, thank you. Chelsea moved fast. Don't let her... Too late. Isabel opened the bag. Chelsea lunged, grabbing for it. She could have a weapon. A weapon? Isabel held the bag away. It's a purse. We don't know what you have. Chelsea's voice went shrill. Victoria stepped between them. Everyone calm down. Miss, just show us some ID and we can clear this up. Isabel reached into the bag, pulled out her phone. It was damaged, water droplets visible under the screen protector, but still functioning. She also pulled out a wallet, sleek leather, monogrammed. She flipped it open. My driver's license, credit cards, all under Lauren Whitmore. Victoria took the wallet, examined it. Her face went progressively paler. This is real. Of course it's not real. Brett grabbed it. Fake IDs are easy to get. Victoria pulled away from him. Brett, this is an Amex Centurion card. You can't fake these. So she stole it. Chelsea was desperate now. The phone in Isabel's hand buzzed, then again, then continuously. She glanced at the screen. 47 missed calls from Alexander. Victoria's hands started shaking. Oh, God. Call him. Isabel held out the phone. He'll verify who I am. Chelsea slapped the phone away. Don't touch anything else from her bag. This is a scam. The phone clattered across the tile, cracked, went dark. You just destroyed my phone. Isabel's voice was ice. It was already broken. Chelsea pointed at the pool. From your swim. It was working. You saw it working. Isabel looked at Sophie. You recorded that, correct? Sophie nodded, still filming. Every second. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Brett's face changed. Who called the cops? Marcus, the young server, stepped forward quietly. I did. Right after you pushed her. You little... Brett started toward him. Don't. Isabel's single word stopped him. Touch that boy, and I'll add witness intimidation to the charges. Charges? Chelsea's voice went up an octave. What charges? You trespassed. 2 Southampton police cars pulled up the circular drive. Officers climbed out. One older white man, graying and thick around the middle. One younger Korean-American woman, fit and alert. The older officer, Patterson, surveyed the scene. Wet woman, angry crowd, multiple phones recording. He sighed. Someone want to tell me what happened here? Brett rushed forward. Officer, thank God you're here. This woman trespassed on private property. When we asked her to leave, she became aggressive and threatening. Patterson looked at Isabel, dripping wet. That's true, ma'am? No. Isabel's voice was calm. I'm a guest. They assumed I was staff. When I explained who I was, they didn't believe me. Then they pushed me into the pool. She's lying. Chelsea grabbed Patterson's arm. Officer, she claimed to be married to one of the wealthiest men in New York. Obviously, mentally unstable. The younger officer, Kim, approached Isabel. Ma'am, are you injured? Isabel held out her arm. The finger marks from Chelsea's grip were vivid against her skin. Dark bruises are already forming. She grabbed me twice, hard enough to leave marks. Kim pulled out a small camera, photographed the bruises. When did this happen? Within the last 10 minutes. She grabbed me first, Chelsea protested. Self-defense. Sophie stepped forward. That's a lie. I recorded the entire interaction. Chelsea grabbed her. Twice. Then she and her husband both pushed her into the pool. Patterson held up a hand. Okay, everyone calm down. We'll sort this out. He turned to Isabel. Ma'am, can I see some identification? My wallet is right there. Victoria has it. Victoria, pale and shaking, handed over the wallet. Patterson examined it. His eyebrows rose. Dr. Isabel Laurent Whitmore. That's fake, Brett insisted. Check her. She doesn't look like a doctor's wife. Patterson's expression flickered, something uncomfortable. He looked at Isabel again, slower this time, taking in her wet dress, her natural hair now wild from the pool, her dark skin. What kind of doctor? He asked. PhD, environmental engineering, MIT. Isabel recited it without emotion. Kim picked up Isabel's damaged phone from the ground. "Is this yours?" "Yes." It was working until she knocked it out of my hand. Kim pressed the power button. The screen flickered, came back on. Apple logo appeared. Then the lock screen. Alexander's face filled it, mid-laugh, arms around Isabel. The photo was clearly professional, clearly expensive, clearly them. Kim turned the phone toward Patterson. "Sir?" Patterson stared at the photo. His certainty crumbled. Brett saw his advantage slipping. Photos can be faked. Photoshop. Anyone can do it. The phone buzzed in Kim's hand. Incoming call. The name on screen. Alexander. Kim looked at Isabel. "Should I answer?" Isabel nodded. "Please, put it on speaker." Kim answered. "Hello?" Alexander's voice came through, tight with worry. "Isabel? Finally, I've been calling for 20 minutes. Security called me. Are you all right?" The entire terrace went silent. Patterson cleared his throat. "Sir, this is Officer Patterson, Southampton PD. Who am I speaking with?" A pause. Then, "Alexander Whitmore. I'm calling about my wife. Is she there? Is she safe?" Victoria made a small sound, almost a whimper. Chelsea's face was drained of color. Brett took a step backward. Isabel stood there, dripping and calm, watching their worlds begin to collapse. Patterson's hand trembled slightly as he held the phone. "Mr. Whitmore, sir, there's been an incident at your cousin Victoria's residence. Your wife is here and she's wet." "Wet?" Alexander's voice sharpened. "What does that mean? Wet?" Officer Kim gently took the phone from Patterson. "Sir, this is Officer Kim. Your wife appears to have been pushed into a pool by 2 other guests. She has visible bruising on her arm. She's unharmed otherwise, but we're documenting everything." "Pushed?" The word came out like a gunshot. "By who?" Chelsea grabbed the phone. "It was an accident. A misunderstanding. Please let me explain." "Don't touch that phone." Kim stepped back, keeping it away from her. Alexander's voice came through the speaker, cold and precise. "Put my wife on. Now." Kim handed the phone to Isabel. She took it, water still dripping from her fingertips onto the screen. "I'm here." Her voice was steady, but something in it softened. "I'm okay. Tell me what happened. Everything." Alexander's tone was controlled fury. "Your cousin's guests mistook me for staff. When I explained who I was, they didn't believe me. They physically grabbed me, accused me of trespassing and lying. Then they pushed me into the pool. Together. Deliberately." Silence on the other end. Then, names. "Chelsea and Brett Montgomery." Another pause. "The Montgomerys, old money family, filed for bankruptcy protection 3 months ago." Alexander's voice took on a razor edge. "Victoria, are you there?" Victoria stepped forward, voice shaking. "I'm here, Alexander." "You let them assault my wife at your party?" "I didn't know. I didn't recognize her. The last time I saw Isabel was 3 months ago, at the Met Gala. You commented on her dress." Alexander's memory was precise, unforgiving. "You said the emerald green was stunning." Victoria's face crumpled. I forgot. There were so many people." "You forgot my wife's face, but you remembered the Montgomerys? Who owe money to half of the Hamptons?" Alexander's disappointment was palpable. "We'll discuss this later. Right now, put James Rodriguez on the phone." Officer Kim looked confused. "Who?" A man in a dark suit pushed through the crowd, head of estate security. His face was ashen. "I'm here, Mr. Whitmore." "James, you were briefed on all Whitmore family members. That includes my wife." Rodriguez looked at Isabel, standing there soaking wet, and his shoulders sagged. Yes, sir. I recognized Dr. Laurent Whitmore the moment I arrived at the scene. I was waiting for her signal on how to proceed. Every eye turned to Isabel. She'd known. The security chief knew who she was, and she'd let it continue. Brett's voice came out strangled. You knew? This whole time you knew who she was? Rodriguez ignored him. Sir, what are your instructions? Full cooperation with police. Pull all security footage, every camera angle. I want the complete guest list, including who vouched for the Montgomerys. And call Harrison Carter. Tell him I need him in Southampton immediately. Chelsea's legs nearly gave out. Harrison Carter? The attorney? Senior partner at Morrison and Associates. Alexander's voice held grim satisfaction. He handles all my family's legal matters, including lawsuits. Brett grabbed Chelsea's arm, whispering urgently. She shook her head, eyes wild. Victoria found her voice. Alexander, please. This is a terrible misunderstanding. It's not a misunderstanding, Victoria. It's assault, battery, theft of personal property. Alexander paused. And based on what they said to my wife, possibly a hate crime. The word hate crime rippled through the crowd. People stepped away from Chelsea and Brett like they were radioactive. Officer Kim pulled out her notepad. Sir, for the record, can you confirm your wife's full legal name and your relationship? Dr. Isabel Marie Laurent Whitmore. We've been married 3 years as of last April. Ceremony in New Orleans, her hometown. Reception at Commander's Palace. Victoria sent white orchids because she was in Paris and couldn't attend. Victoria's hand flew to her mouth. The memory is clearly flooding back. Patterson, who'd been silent, finally spoke up. Mr. Whitmore, about the misidentification. Officer Patterson. Alexander cut him off. I'll be landing in Southampton in approximately 3 hours. My wife will press full charges. I expect you to treat this with the seriousness it deserves. Of course, sir. Absolutely. Good. Isabel, I'm on my way. Don't let anyone intimidate you. I won't. Isabel's lips curved slightly. I never do. I know. I love you. Love you too. The call ended. Isabel handed the phone back to Officer Kim. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Sophie Carter stepped forward, turning to face the crowd. For everyone who doesn't know, Dr. Isabel Laurent Whitmore founded Green Tech Solutions. She's on the Forbes list. Top 50 self-made billionaires under 50. A man in the back called out. She spoke at the World Economic Forum last year. Another voice. She donated $100 million to climate research. A young woman pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. Dr. Laurent funded my scholarship, the Laurent STEM Scholarship for underrepresented students. She paid for my entire education. Marcus, the young server, raised his hand shakily. Mine too. 4-year full ride to Cornell. Isabel looked at him, surprised. Marcus Carter, Sophie's nephew? He nodded. You didn't know I worked here. I took this summer job to save money for textbooks. Each revelation hit Chelsea and Brett like a physical blow. Chelsea's knees buckled. She grabbed a chair for support. Brett turned on Victoria. You invited her? You knew she was some billionaire and you didn't tell anyone? I didn't remember. Victoria's voice broke. God help me, I didn't remember. Officer Kim pulled out handcuffs. Mr. and Mrs. Montgomery, you're under arrest for assault and battery. No. Chelsea's voice came out as a whimper. No, please, we made a mistake. We're sorry. You're sorry you got caught. Isabel spoke for the first time since the call ended. Her voice was quiet, but it carried. You weren't sorry when you grabbed me, when you insulted me, when you pushed me into that pool while 50 people watched. You thought I was beneath you. Isabel stepped closer, water still dripping from her dress. You thought my skin color meant I couldn't possibly belong here. You thought you had the right to put your hands on me, to humiliate me, to throw me away like trash. Chelsea burst into tears. Please, this will ruin us. You ruined yourselves. Isabel turned to Officer Kim. I want to press full charges. Assault, battery, theft, whatever applies. Kim nodded. Yes, ma'am. Turn around, please, Mrs. Montgomery. The handcuffs clicked into place. The metallic click of handcuffs echoed across the terrace. Chelsea's wrists were pulled behind her back, the steel biting into her skin. She twisted toward Victoria, mascara streaming down her face. Victoria, please! Tell them it was an accident. You know us! Victoria stood frozen, champagne glass trembling in her hand. I can't help you, Chelsea. We've been friends for 10 years. Chelsea's voice climbed into hysteria. You assaulted my cousin's wife at my party. Victoria's voice was hollow, final. Officer Kim moved to Brett. Hands behind your back, sir. Brett jerked away. This is insane. My family will sue. Do you know who my lawyer is? Do you know who mine is? Isabel wiped water from her face. Harrison Carter, Morrison and Associates. Brett's face went gray. Morrison and Associates was the most powerful law firm in New York. They'd represented presidents and won every major case they'd touched. That firm charges $15,000 an hour. Brett's voice faded. I know. Isabel's tone was ice. Officer Kim grabbed Brett's wrist, pulled it behind him. The second cuff clicked. You have the right to remain silent. I know my rights. This is police brutality. Patterson stepped forward. Sir, resist, and we add that to your charges. Charges? Chelsea's voice cracked. It was just a pool. People get pushed into pools at parties. Not by strangers who've grabbed them twice and called them liars. Kim pulled out her phone. I have 4 videos from witnesses, all showing deliberate two-handed pushes from both of you. Sophie Carter raised her hand. I'll testify. I saw everything. The man in the bow tie nodded. Me too. That was a clear assault. The woman in pearls held up her phone. I have a video. I'm sending it to the station now. Chelsea looked desperately at the crowd. Someone help us, please. We made a mistake. But the crowd had transformed. People who'd laughed 10 minutes ago now backed away. Friends scattered. Meredith, Chelsea's closest friend, stared at her phone, deleting photos, every group shot, every tagged post, every connection disappearing. Brett saw it. Meredith, you're abandoning us? We're acquaintances, that's all. Meredith didn't look up. Chelsea made a sound like a wounded animal. Patterson guided them toward the police cars. Watch your head. As Chelsea was placed in the back seat, her purse slipped. Contents spilled across the driveway. Lipstick, compact, credit cards, and Isabel's phone. Kim picked it up, photographed it. Theft of property valued over $1,000. Grand larceny. I didn't steal it, Chelsea screamed through the window. She dropped it. 17 witnesses say you knocked it from her hand. Kim held up her phone. 4 videos confirm it. Brett stared out at the crowd, watching his life evaporate. My mother is going to kill me. Patterson slammed the door. Your mother is the least of your problems. The police cars pulled away, lights flashing. The party erupted into whispers. Phones appeared everywhere. Within 3 minutes, the story hit Twitter. Within 5, Instagram. Within 7, a gossip blog posted details that identified everyone involved. Victoria stood alone by the pool. A server approached. Should we drain it? No, leave it. Police will want photos. Security Chief Rodriguez appeared. I've pulled all the footage, 42 camera angles. Send everything to Alexander's attorneys. Victoria paused. James, why didn't you stop it? You knew who she was. Rodriguez hesitated. Dr. Laurent Whitmore signaled me 3 times to stand down. She wanted to see how far they'd go. Victoria turned to Isabel, now wrapped in towels, speaking with Officer Kim, still composed, still in control. "She let it happen?" Victoria whispered. "Yes, ma'am." Victoria approached Isabel. "I'm so sorry. I should have recognized you." "You should have stopped them regardless of who I was." Isabel's voice was gentle but firm. "That's the point." "You're right," Victoria swallowed. "What can I do?" "Donate $500,000 to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Tonight." "Done. I'll double it." "Then we're fine. You didn't push me. They did." A paramedic approached. "Ma'am, I need to document injuries." Isabel held out her arm. Deep purple bruises marked where Chelsea's fingers had dug in. 5 distinct points. The paramedic photographed from multiple angles. The bruises, the ruined dress, the scrape on her elbow, the redness in her eyes. Kim reviewed everything on her tablet. "The Montgomerys will be held overnight. Bail hearing tomorrow. Will you attend?" "Yes." "They'll bail if they can afford it." "They can't." Isabel's voice was matter-of-fact. "They filed bankruptcy 3 months ago. They'll spend tonight in jail." Kim's eyebrows rose. "You knew?" "Their company approached mine for investment 6 months ago. We declined. Too much debt." Sophie laughed, the sound bitter. "They pushed away the one person who could have saved them." Isabel's phone buzzed. "Alexander. Landed. 40 minutes away. Harrison is with me." By sunset, the Montgomerys' lives had been dissected online. Financial troubles exposed. Past racist incidents unearthed. Deleted posts recovered and shared. #Hamptons. Assault was trending nationally. In a Southampton cell, Chelsea and Brett sat in silence, finally understanding what they'd done. 48 hours later, the story consumed national news. Every major outlet ran segments. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. The footage was identical. Chelsea and Brett shoving a black woman into a pool while crowds watched. Good Morning America played the video on loop. This Hamptons incident has sparked nationwide conversation about racism, privilege, and accountability. The View dedicated an entire episode. Whoopi held up Isabel's photo. Dr. Isabel Laurent Whitmore, MIT graduate, billionaire philanthropist, treated like trash because of her skin color. Social media exploded. Hamptons, assault hit 10 million mentions in 24 hours. Justice for Isabel followed. Then pool assault, Hamptons racism. But the counter-investigation destroyed the Montgomerys completely. A New York Times reporter found Chelsea's old blog, posts from 5 years ago, before she scrubbed her presence. Entries complaining about diversity hires ruining qualified candidates, about those people moving into her neighborhood, how affirmative action was reverse discrimination. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Someone found Brett's college emails, messages using racial slurs, jokes about keeping the club pure, complaints about being forced to interview minority candidates. More screenshots, more outrage. A former housekeeper came forward. Maria Gonzalez, 53, mother of 2. Chelsea had fired her for speaking Spanish in the house. The termination letter explicitly stated the reason. Maria's interview aired on Univision, then CNN. She told me speak English or go back to Mexico. I was born in New Jersey. 2 more former employees emerged, both people of color, both with stories of casual cruelty built into mountains. This wasn't isolated. It was a pattern. District Attorney Maria Hernandez called a press conference. After reviewing extensive evidence, we're filing additional charges. Beyond assault and battery, we're adding hate crime enhancements based on clear racial animus. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted. The maximum combined sentence is now 7 years in state prison. Wealth and status will not shield these defendants from consequences. The Montgomery's attorney, Gerald Morse, scrambled. He held his own press conference. My clients made a terrible mistake. They've apologized. They're willing to make this right. A reporter called out. How? Morse shuffled notes. We're offering a settlement, $50,000. Laughter erupted. $50,000 to a billionaire was insulting. Dr. Laurent Whitmore filed a $10 million civil suit. Your response? Morse went pale. $10 million is excessive. She's donating winnings to charity. Southern Poverty Law Center and NOACP Legal Defense Fund. Morse had no answer. The criminal trial began 3 months later. The courthouse was surrounded by protesters, half demanding justice, half defending the Montgomerys as cancel culture victims. Inside, the prosecution presented it surgically. 23 video angles. Each showed deliberate, coordinated pushing. Chelsea and Brett working together. Isabel trying to retreat. No accident. Medical photos of bruises. 5 distinct finger marks. Deep tissue damage. Excessive force. Expert testimony from a psychologist. Public humiliation, particularly racially motivated, causes lasting trauma. PTSD. Anxiety. Hypervigilance. Character witnesses for Isabel. Scholarship recipients describing her generosity. Business partners praised her integrity. Professors remembering her brilliance. Marcus Carter testified about his Laurent scholarship. She paid 4 years at Cornell. Didn't know me personally, just wanted to help kids like me. The courtroom went silent. Then Isabel took the stand. Navy suit, simple pearls, natural hair pulled back. She looked directly at the jury. The prosecutor approached. Dr. Laurent Whitmore, tell the jury what happened June 15th. Isabel's voice was steady. I attended a party as an invited guest. Within 20 minutes, I was physically assaulted and publicly humiliated because 2 people looked at my skin and decided I didn't belong. How did that make you feel? Angry, hurt, but not surprised. Isabel paused. I've experienced racism my entire life. Microaggressions in boardrooms, assumptions about my intelligence, questions about whether I really earned my degrees, but this was different. This was violence. Why different? Because they didn't just insult me. They put hands on me, threw me into water like garbage, and they smiled while doing it. Isabel's eyes found Chelsea. They enjoyed it. Chelsea looked away, crying. What impact has this had? I now travel with security. Something I resisted for years. I can't live normally anymore. That sense of safety is gone. Defense attorney Morse tried damage control. Dr. Laurent Whitmore, isn't it possible my clients genuinely thought you were trespassing? No. Why not? Because I told them I was a guest, offered identification, explained who I was. They chose not to believe me. Isabel leaned forward. Ask yourself why. Why would 2 people see a well-dressed woman and immediately assume she's an intruder? What about my appearance made them certain I didn't belong? Morse had no response. I'll tell you. Isabel's voice filled the courtroom. My skin. That's the only thing making me different from other guests. That's why we're here. The defense put Chelsea on the stand. Disaster. Chelsea cried through testimony. I made a terrible mistake. I've lost everything. Friends, reputation, home. The prosecutor approached. You lost material things. What did Dr. Laurent Whitmore lose? I don't know. Her sense of safety, peace of mind, dignity, things money can't replace. The prosecutor displayed Chelsea's blog posts. Are these your words? Diversity hires ruin qualified candidates? Chelsea's face crumpled. That was out of context. What context makes that acceptable? Silence. Brett didn't testify. His attorney knew better. After 4 hours, the jury returned. On assault in the 2nd degree? Guilty. On battery? Guilty. On hate crime enhancement? Guilty. Chelsea collapsed, sobbing. Brett stared ahead, disbelieving. Sentencing came 1 week later. Judge Maria Rodriguez reviewed everything. This court has rarely seen such clear evidence of racial animus coupled with violence. You didn't just assault Dr. Laurent Whitmore. You assaulted her humanity. The judge looked over her glasses. Brett Montgomery, 3 years in state prison, 5 years probation, 500 hours community service at a civil rights organization, $50,000 fine. Brett's mother gasped. Chelsea Montgomery, 2.5 years prison, 5 years probation, mandatory bias training, 500 hours community service, $50,000 fine. Chelsea wailed. Please, Your Honor, I have children. You should have thought of them before assaulting someone. The judge's voice was iron. Permanent restraining orders. No contact with Dr. Laurent Whitmore for life. The gavel fell. The civil suit settled that day. $8.5 million. The Montgomerys liquidated everything. House, cars, jewelry, art, all gone. Isabel donated every penny to civil rights organizations. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Dr. Laurent Whitmore, how do you feel? Justice was served. That's all I wanted. The Montgomerys say their lives are ruined. Isabel paused. They ruined their own lives. I just made sure they faced consequences. 6 months later, sunlight streamed through tall windows at a Harlem community center. The room buzzed with energy. 100 young black and brown entrepreneurs filled folding chairs, laptops open, dreams alive. Isabel stood at the podium, no longer in a soaked dress but in a crisp blazer. Her natural hair framed her face. Her smile was genuine. Welcome to the first Laurent Business Initiative grant ceremony. Her voice carried warmth. Today, we're awarding $50 million to minority-owned startups. 100 grants, $500,000 each. Applause erupted. Some recipients cried, others hugged. Dreams were becoming real. Marcus Carter sat in the front row, no longer a server in a white jacket, but a college senior with a business plan. He'd received a grant for his sustainable restaurant concept. Isabel caught his eye, nodded. He nodded back. That night at the pool, Isabel continued, I had a choice. I could have revealed my identity immediately and avoided humiliation. But I wanted to see how far prejudice would go when it felt safe. The room went quiet. The answer? All the way to assault. She paused. The Montgomerys are in prison today not because I'm wealthy, but because I had resources to fight back. How many black women experience the same treatment but can't afford lawyers? Can't risk their jobs by making waves? Can't survive media scrutiny? Heads nodded throughout the room. Justice shouldn't depend on a victim's bank account. The law should protect everyone equally. Isabel's voice strengthened. That's why I'm announcing a new legal defense fund, $20 million for hate crime victims who can't afford representation. Standing ovation. The applause lasted 2 full minutes. After the ceremony, Isabel stood by the window, watching the Harlem streets below. Alexander joined her, slipping an arm around her waist. How are you feeling? He asked quietly. Tired, but good. She leaned into him. We're making a difference. You always have. He kissed her temple. The memoir comes out next month. Are you ready? Belonging, One Woman's Journey Through American Prejudice. Isabel smiled slightly. Ready as I'll be. Her phone buzzed. A news alert. She glanced at it, then showed Alexander. Chelsea Montgomery released on parole. 15 months served. Alexander's jaw tightened. All ready? Good behavior. Isabel's voice was neutral. Brett gets out in 3 months. How do you feel about that? Isabel considered. They served their time. They lost everything. Their marriage ended. Their children won't speak to them. They're barred from the Hamptons, most of Long Island, every social club they belonged to. They're working service jobs now. Alexander had kept tabs. Chelsea waits tables. Brett works warehouse night shifts. Ironic. Isabel looked out at the city. They thought I was beneath them because they assumed I worked service jobs. Now they actually do. Is that justice? Its consequences. Isabel turned to face him. Justice was the trial. This was the conviction, the precedent it set. Everything else is just them living with what they created. Downstairs, the grant recipients were networking, exchanging ideas, building community, creating the future. Sophie Carter approached Isabel. Thank you for inviting me. Marcus is beside himself with excitement. He earned it. His business plan was excellent. Isabel smiled. How are you? Good. Still testifying occasionally. Sophie had become an advocate, speaking at conferences about bystander intervention. I've been asked to keynote at a diversity summit next month. You'll be amazing. Officer Kim appeared at the door in plain clothes. She'd been promoted to head the Southampton PD's bias training program. Dr. Laurent Whitmore, do you have a moment? They stepped aside. Kim pulled out a tablet. I wanted to show you something. Hate crime reporting in the Hamptons is up 40% since your case. Isabel studied the charts. Is that good or bad? Good. Crimes were always happening. Now people report them. Kim scrolled through data. We've also seen 15 other victims come forward with incidents involving the Montgomerys. Things that happened years ago. 15? Isabel's eyebrows rose. They had a pattern. You were just the one with resources to fight back. Kim paused. Your case changed everything. 200 corporations updated anti-discrimination policies. Police departments nationwide reviewed hate crime protocols. The Isabel effect is real. The phrase had become shorthand. The Isabel effect, when witnessing leads to action, when silence becomes testimony, when bystanders become allies. Victoria Whitmore had kept her promise. 1 million to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Regular donations to civil rights organizations. She'd transformed her annual party into a fundraiser for racial justice initiatives. The family had accepted Isabel. Finally. Not because of what happened, but because they couldn't ignore her anymore. Isabel returned to the podium for closing remarks. If this story moved you, don't just feel. Act. The room leaned forward. If you witness discrimination, record it. Report it. Testify. Her voice was firm. Support organizations fighting hate crimes. Links are in your program. She gestured to the recipients. Share their stories. Amplify voices that are usually silenced. Subscribe for updates about real cases where courage met accountability. Marcus stood, started clapping. Others joined. Soon the entire room was on their feet. Isabel raised her hand for quiet. They pushed me into a pool to put me in my place. But my place was never where they thought it was. She looked directly at the camera in the back, recording for social media. So here's my question for you. Her voice dropped, intimate and challenging. When you see injustice, do you look away because it's easier? Or do you bear witness because it's right? Silence held the room. Your answer defines not just who you are, but who we are as a society. Isabel's eyes blazed. What will you choose? The screen faded to Isabel standing by a pool. Different location. Symbolic. She looked at the water, then back at the camera. The pool couldn't drown my dignity. Their hatred couldn't erase my worth. And your silence won't stop the fight for justice. She turned and walked away, head high, shoulders back, unbroken. Have you ever witnessed discrimination? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe for more stories where justice prevails.